It was written, I think, in the 1300. It says Francesco Petrarca, yeah, 1303, 1374. So this was written in the, what, 14th century. And I think he takes after Dante, Dante Alighieri. Well, the original title of the book, it's called Triumphi. This is an edition from 2003, and it says the illustration of the cover is the Triumph of Fame. So this is like already like a tarot card, which it says Triunfo de Fama. So look at it. It's like it's an illustration like a tarot card. Well, it's not really established whether the cards come from the Triumphi or the Triumphi come from the cards. It's more likely that the triumphs and the cards, the major arcana, come from these vignettes, this concept of triumphs that was already in circulation in the culture in as early as the 14th century, probably before. So it's medieval. That's why they say the origin of the tarot is medieval. So this is an illustration from the 1500s. It's from 1512. It's an engraving. So this is this is another Triumph card or major arcana from the Rider-Waite, which is called Judgment in this case. And here we see this card this illustration was made 400 years after this one. And but we see here the angel with a trumpet, and we see here the same, I don't know if it's the same angel, but it's the same idea, an angel playing a trumpet. And we see here this like city, I don't know, towers and buildings and walls, and is reminiscent of things that are in cards, in tarot cards. Six of Cups. Also look at this house. Look at that. Interesting, huh? Could be the same town, maybe. Look at the town here in the background from the Four of Pentacles. Could be. Or this castle here from the Four of Wands from the Rider-Waite. Look how it could, easily be overimposed here. Isn't it cool? We have plenty of riders too in the Rider-Waite, but in all tarots, of course. How cool is it, the tarot, and to do this? And we haven't even opened the book, and we already have a whole lot to see and to talk about. It says that this Triumphi, more or less, were written in 1352, 1352, 1353. They are personifications of concepts. It says here specifically that the Triumphs it's a poem that is a work that sings about the vanity of the worldly endeavors in the face of eternity. So it's like the triumphs are like let's say a reflection on what's really important, what's eternal, versus vanity and the uses, the vain uses of the world. So those triumphs, those allegories are reflections of the eternal. That's why we have that echo in the tarot in such arcana as the Justice, for instance, or Temperance, which are kind of like eternal ideas, eternal concepts. So what are just these triumphs? What are they exactly, the triumphs? I gather they are kind of like a parade, like the St. Patrick's Day parade. Like I think nowadays they have these big superheroes or characters representing, I don't know, department stores or movies. I don't know, right down the street in maybe New York, down Fifth Avenue, this big parade, and people just come out and watch it, and it's, you know, like this happening. And then, oh, there comes Spider-Man, you know, there's this giant Spider-Man coming down. Oh, there comes the, I don't know, whatever it is, you know, a brand, you know, comes in a car, you know, with lights and music, right, and saying hello to the crowds. So different characters pass on by this parade, each one representing something, and each one means something to the people watching. Those characters, right, in the popular culture, that they mean something, you know, like Santa Claus, you know what Santa Claus means. So it was similar, I think, in a way. The triumphs in Italy in the 14th century, 13th century, a big parade for a festivity. I don't know exactly which or in what date, or maybe they had a few during the year, and these characters would come in a procession. So there would be maybe there comes the emperor, there comes the pope, you know, like figures, people dressed up like that. I think the origin of this was from Roman times, from the classic, the antiquity, when a victorious general would enter the city, and he would throw a parade, and he would enter the city, and he would bring the spoils of war. So if he had been to, I don't know, Africa and conquered land there or cities, he would come with, I don't know, elephants and with, you know, different species, and he would bring a tiger, and the people watching would be in awe because they've never seen I don't know, a bear or an elephant before, because they would bring exotic things to the parade. They uprooted trees from faraway lands and they brought them alive, and they parade them in their triumph. So the triumph means, you know, like the word says, triumph means like a victory. So it was a victory parade. So those parades that we hold now in our modern times or in the contemporary era, they date back from really long ago. So the idea, I think, was similar. I also say that they might have had a religious background, because in earlier times the religious and the state activities were intermingled. There was not such a separation as we have now from the state and the church. And for instance, for the Romans, everything was religious. Religion and politics and military, they were kind of intertwined. So in order to go to war, they would have to consult with the priest and with the omens to see if it was a good omen to go to war, and it was all mixed. So I would not be surprised that these parades had a lot to do with religion too. They were held maybe on the religious festivities or religious days, pretty much, especially in medieval times. Then I think the calendar or the activities of people were marked very heavily by the religious calendar. You would have a Passover, you would have Christmas, you would have all these St. Patrick's Day, all these days marking the calendar festivities, and you would maybe have these parades, these triumphs, these allegorical things going on. So now let's check the book itself, and the first triumph we have is the Triumph of Love. Does this ring a bell? Love. Triumph of Love, and here is the lovers. So this is a triumph or a major arcana, right? So here we see an exact or almost exact correlation between the book or the poem of Petrarch with the tarot card. So anyway, what is this book all about? Okay, so it's a long poem with the chapters in it, and each chapter is called a triumph, or in each chapter he talks about a triumph. So the poem itself is like he's narrating this parade where these figures or triumphs come. So the first figure we encounter is the triumph of love, and then he goes on to describe what he sees in the parade, and then another triumph comes, and then another. So the idea is to present one triumph after the other, and it's like each triumph that comes overcomes the previous triumph. So we in the tarot have 22 triumphs, but here in Petrarch's book we only have 6 triumphs, and they're not all the same as in the tarot cards. So the correlation is not exact, but some are there. Let's look at the index. Okay, here's our index, and here we see. So the triumphs. So the first triumph is a triumph of love, and it's called Triumphus Cupidinis. Then comes triumph of chastity. So chastity overcomes love. And then comes triumph of death. Okay, this is exactly a correlation with another triumph we have in the tarot, which is the death card. And then comes triumph of fame, which is this one illustration we have on the front, which looks also like a card, right? But which is not currently in the tarot deck. We have the triumph of time, and then the triumph of eternity. So you see, it's like each one triumphs over the other. So love is the first, but then chastity is better than love. But then death is, I don't know, better, but it kills chastity, right? But then fame kills death. If you're famous, you can be famous for eternity. It doesn't matter if the person dies. Like Achilles, he died, but he got fame forever. Okay, so that's the idea, that they come in a hierarchy. So fame is better than death, death is better than chastity, or chastity is better than love. Not better, but it's stronger, right? It lasts longer. But then time is bigger or is stronger than fame. But then eternity is longer than time itself, because eternity is all, right? So from all of these, only love and death are currently represented in our major arcana from the tarot. In the lovers or the love triumph, he goes on to sing or write or sing about all the different lovers in history up to that point. So he goes on and he lists all of these lovers that people would know in that time, that were famous from antiquity. Like chastity is similar, I would say, to temperance, because it's like a moderation. So he's going on to say that a temperance is preferable to give in to the passions of love, because when you give in to the passions of love, I don't know, that didn't end well in history. So it's better to be chaste or temperate. It's better. It's a higher form than just to give in to the passion of love, the earthly desires, the bodily desires of love, which make you foolish in a way. So it's better to be temperate or to be chaste. So that's why the triumph of chastity overcomes the triumph of love, or of the lovers in this case. And then But anyway, in the poem, he has a girl which he loves, and she dies unfortunately, and that's why death it's superior, or it's stronger than the previous ones, because death kind of took his lover, and even though he tried to be chaste, death was stronger. So he goes on and sings about that tragedy, and talks about death, and how really death overcomes everybody. And he starts to talk about the examples in history also, where death overcame even the richest man in the world, and even the most powerful man in the world. He had to give in to death, the pale horse marching over him. And it doesn't matter that he was the king or the richest or most powerful guy in the land, he still had to yield to death. That's what this card says, and that's kind of what the poem says. But what overcomes death is fame, right? There's people that have passed away, but they live on in their fame. And that's not a triumph that we have in the tarot now, but some tarots do have it. There are variations of the tarot, and there are some tarots that have other, which are called virtues, right? For instance, strength, I think, would be another one of the echoes of those values or virtues, right? So we don't have fame in the tarot, but we do have time, because time overcomes fame. And originally the hermit, he didn't have a lamp, but he had I think an hourglass, because he was Father Time originally, and he became the hermit. So this card, well, you see the hermit is slow and he's old, because he is the representation originally of the time, of Father Time. So time overcomes fame, even overcomes death. Finally, we had eternity, which is overcomes even time itself. And I think maybe this card can be related to that, that idea of eternity, of completion of the world, the universe, everything. Maybe this card, which is also the last one in the arcana that we have, is the one that triumphs overall, right? That overcomes all the other triumphs, because this is the end of the tarot, right? The text itself, we can see references to things that are going on in the cards as well. For instance, the chariot. Let's just take a quick look at it. Yeah, so here near the 12th line of the first triumph, and then he saw a victorious chief driving his chariot in triumph towards glory. So that's what he said, and that's what the meaning of this card is. He says it was winged. So here are some wings that are reminiscent, and there's the city again that we see here, and that city, see on the background. So here he goes, the chariot. Here he goes, kind of like in a procession. He's going into triumph. That's how the Roman general would come into the city, in a car, in a chariot, victorious, triumphant, right? And exactly how he's described in the poem. Cards like the star, the sun, and the moon are remnants of the things that were important for the people in the Middle Ages and Antiquity, which was to look at the stars, look at the sun, for harvest, for all those things, and the moon here. And now we interpret this card as this being the subconscious that is deep beneath our soul, and that needs to come out to the open. So it's something hidden it's coming out from our subconscious to the conscious, right? But that's a psychological modern interpretation. But this crab here, maybe it was a constellation. Maybe it was, I don't know, maybe the Cancer constellation because it's a crab, or maybe it was the Scorpio. Maybe if it was a scorpion here, and this is the moon, and that's the sun, the stars, because astrology and astronomy were kind of the same thing, and people looked at the stars for omens, and not only for divination but for real things, to know where the seasons were starting. Like I said before, when to plant, when to harvest, when to go on a journey. Is the weather going to change? Many things you can know. Your location, where you are in the sea, where to go, what direction to take, where is the north. All of that you could see in the stars, in the moon, in the sun, watching the constellations. But nowadays that we have GPS and all those things, we kind of like not need this anymore. But there's knowledge in here. There's ancient knowledge that you can learn how to codify or decode. It's really in here. It's like I say, hundreds of years have passed, so they have mutated and they have evolved and they have changed, but some of the original aspects remain, and it's very rich, and maybe it can yield for you better readings. I don't know. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It's just amazing, and I hope you enjoy this.